August 1, 1943. Over Ploesti, Romania, the sky turns black with iron. A lone B-17 flying fortress staggers through walls of flak, engines screaming, wings shredded. Below, the oil refineries burn like open wounds across the earth. Above, anti-aircraft batteries track the bomber with mathematical precision. They have fired 47 shells at this single aircraft. 47 bursts of shrapnel, each one close enough to tear metal and flesh. Each one should have connected. None have. The pilot, First Lieutenant Ellsworth Garrick, is doing something no manual teaches. He is weaving. Not the gentle, evasive turns doctrine allows, not the coordinated formation adjustments bomber pilots practice. This is different, violent, unpredictable. The aircraft lurches left, drops 200 feet, rolls right, climbs 300. No pattern, no rhythm. The movements look drunk, desperate, insane. His co-pilot, Horace Lundquist, grips the yoke with white knuckles but does not interfere. He has stopped asking questions. He simply holds on. The smell inside the cockpit is hydraulic fluid and cordite. The instrument panel rattles. Oil pressure fluctuates. Number 3 engine coughs black smoke. The intercom crackles with voices. Navigator Thaddeus Merriweather calling out headings. Bombardier Cornelius Ashford reporting flak concentrations. Engineer Virgil Stamper monitoring fuel consumption that should not be this high. They are burning reserves. They are burning time. Another burst. Close. The aircraft shudders. Shrapnel punches through the fuselage aft of the radio compartment. No one screams. The crew has moved past fear into a different state. They trust Garrick, or they are already dead. There is no middle ground. Below, the refineries sprawl like industrial cancer. Smoke columns rise thousands of feet. The bomb run is complete. The payload is gone. All that remains is survival. Getting home. Making it back across the Mediterranean with enough fuel to reach friendly territory. The flak intensifies. The Germans have calculated their trajectory. They know where the bomber should be in 3 seconds, in 5 seconds, in 10. They fire ahead of the projected path. Standard doctrine, textbook gunnery. It works against every other aircraft in the formation. But Garrick is not flying a predictable path. He is rewriting probability in real time. Another burst. 48 now. So close the aircraft rocks from concussion alone. Paint blisters from heat. The plexiglass nose cracks, but does not shatter. Garrick's hands move constantly. Throttles adjusted by fractions. Control yoke pulled and pushed with deliberate chaos. He is not reacting. He is creating. Manufacturing uncertainty, making the aircraft impossible to predict. The Germans below are firing at ghosts, at probabilities that no longer apply. They do not understand what they are seeing. No bomber pilot flies like this. No one survives by appearing to lose control. But Garrick is not losing control. He is weaponizing it. Ellsworth Garrick was born in 1917 in Cambridge, Massachusetts. His father taught mathematics at Harvard. His mother ran a bookshop on Brattle Street. The house smelled of pipe tobacco and old paper. Dinner conversations revolved around logic puzzles and probability theory. Young Ellis, as they called him, learned to see the world in patterns before he learned to ride a bicycle. He counted everything. Steps to school, cracks in the sidewalk, birds on the telephone wire, not obsessively, curiously. He wanted to understand the distribution, the frequency, the underlying mathematics of daily life. At Milton Academy, he excelled in physics and geometry, not because he studied harder than others, because he understood that equations described reality. They were not abstract exercises, they were blueprints. Teachers described him as methodical. Classmates described him as odd. He did not play sports. He did not chase girls. He sat in the library calculating trajectories of thrown objects, angles of light through windows, the probability of rain based on barometric pressure, and cloud formations. He kept notebooks filled with observations, small things, water droplet patterns on glass, wind effects on falling leaves, the chaos that looked random but followed rules. He entered MIT in 1935, civil engineering. He wanted to build bridges, structures that transferred load through calculated stress points. But he also took courses in aerodynamics, fluid dynamics, the movement of air over surfaces. He became fascinated with turbulence, the way smooth flow could suddenly break into chaotic patterns, the way chaos itself had structure if you looked close enough. He graduated in 1939 with honors, no clear direction. The world was tilting toward war, but America was not yet involved. When war came, Garrick enlisted in the Army Air Forces, not out of patriotism, out of curiosity. He wanted to fly, to experience the physics he had studied in 3 dimensions, to feel the equations. Flight training was abbreviated. The military needed pilots faster than training programs could produce quality. Garrick passed through basic flight school without distinction. Instructors noted his technical proficiency. They questioned his aggression. One evaluation called him hesitant under simulated combat stress. Another flagged him for overthinking. He was assigned to bombers, heavy aircraft, multi-engine, the kind flown by engineers, not fighters. He flew B-17s, 4-engine fortresses designed to absorb punishment and deliver payloads. He learned formation flying, oxygen management, how to read flak bursts, how to maintain course through enemy fire. Doctrine was clear: fly straight, fly level, trust the formation. Evasive maneuvers destabilize the group. Individual survival depends on collective discipline. Garrick understood the logic. He also understood the flaw. Predictability made gunnery simple. If the enemy knew where you would be, they could put shells there. Every flight manual taught the same lesson: maintain course, do not deviate. The statistics supported it. Formation discipline reduced losses. Except Garrick kept thinking about turbulence, about chaos, about the moment smooth flow breaks into patterns that cannot be predicted. He kept notebooks, he sketched diagrams. He did not yet know what he was looking for, but he was looking. Spring, 1943. Garrick is assigned to the 15th Air Force, operating from bases in North Africa. The heat is crushing. Dust gets into everything: engines, food, lungs. The tense smell of canvas and sweat. Ground crews work through the night under floodlights, patching bullet holes, replacing shattered plexiglass, scrubbing blood from turret positions. The missions are long: 8 hours, 10 hours, over water with no margin for error. If your engines fail, you ditch. If you ditch, you disappear. The Mediterranean does not give bodies back. The briefing room is a converted warehouse: wooden benches, a makeshift stage, maps pinned to corkboard. When the intelligence officer pulls back the curtain, pilots see a name they have heard in whispers: Ploesti, the oil refineries in Romania, the 3rd most heavily defended target in Europe after Berlin and the Ruhr Valley. 40% of Germany's fuel comes from Ploesti. The refineries sprawl across miles: cracking towers, storage tanks, pipeline networks, all protected by concentrated anti-aircraft batteries, hundreds of guns, 88mm flak cannons, radar-directed fire, predictive targeting systems. The math is simple and brutal. Fly over Ploesti, and the probability of being hit approaches certainty. The intelligence officer explains the defenses. German gunners have perfected a technique. They calculate bomber speed and altitude. They project the flight path forward. They fire shells timed to explode at specific coordinates. The shells burst in clusters. Each explosion creates a kill zone 30 yards wide. Shrapnel spreads in all directions. Fragments travel at thousands of feet per second. They punch through aluminum like paper. 1 hit can sever a control cable. 2 hits can kill an engine. 3 hits can split a wing. The formation is supposed to protect against this. Overlapping fields of fire, mutual support. But the Germans know this too. They concentrate fire on single aircraft, overwhelm one bomber, move to the next. The attrition rate is acceptable to them. They have ammunition. They have time. Garrick listens without expression. His crew sits around him. Lundquist chewing gum mechanically, Merriweather taking notes, Ashford staring at the map, Stamper cleaning his fingernails with a pocket knife. They have flown together for 6 months, 23 missions. They have lost count of how many aircraft in their group have gone down. They do not learn names anymore. Replacement crews arrive weekly. Some last 3 sorties, some last 1. The statistics are posted in the operations tent. Current survival rate for a full tour of duty is 18%. 18 men out of every 100 make it home. The rest bail out, crash, burn, or simply vanish. Garrick has been calculating. At current loss rates, his crew has 4 more missions, maybe 5. Then probability catches them. Unless something changes, unless the equation shifts. August 1st, 1943, 0400 hours. The engines cough to life in darkness. Ground crews pull chocks. Garrick runs through the checklist with Lundquist. Oil pressure, fuel mixture, magnetos, hydraulics. Everything reads normal. Everything is a lie. Normal does not exist over Ploesti. They take off in sequence, 1 bomber every 45 seconds. The runway lights blur past. The aircraft lifts. Landing gear retracts with a hydraulic whine. They climb into formation. 37 B-17s, the entire group. Below, the North African coast falls away. The Mediterranean spreads dark and empty. The flight is long, hours of engine noise and vibration. The sun rises over water. Inside the aircraft, temperature climbs. The cockpit becomes an oven. Sweat soaks through flight suits. Oxygen masks chafe. Radio chatter is minimal. Call signs, heading corrections, weather updates. No one jokes. No one speaks of what is coming. They know. Intelligence estimates are clear. Ploesti has over 300 anti-aircraft guns. The approach path is mapped. The refineries are visible from 50 miles. Smoke from the stacks. Heat shimmer from the cracking towers. The Germans know they are coming. They have known for hours. Radar tracked them over the sea. Fighters were scrambled. The guns are loaded and crews are waiting. At 10,000 feet, the formation tightens. Garrick flies in the second wave. Position 7. Middle of the pack, not lead, not tail. Statistically safer. Statistically irrelevant. The first flak bursts appear at 20 miles out. Black puffs against blue sky. Range finding. Calibration shots. The Germans are establishing altitude and speed. They are feeding data into firing solutions, calculating trajectories. The math is elegant. Bomber altitude equals 10,000 feet. Airspeed equals 180 miles per hour. Time to target equals 6 minutes. Shells time to explode along the projected path. Simple physics, inevitable geometry. Garrick watches the bursts. He estimates distances. He notes patterns. The shells are not random. They bracket the formation, left, right, high, low. The gunners are refining their aim. Each burst provides feedback. Too far left, adjust right. Too high, drop elevation. The next salvo will be closer. The salvo after that will connect. He has studied this. He has read after-action reports. He knows what happens next. The formation will fly straight. Doctrine demands it. Evasive action destabilizes the group. Individual survival depends on collective discipline. The lead aircraft will maintain course. The others will follow. And the flak will tear them apart. Garrick's hands tighten on the yoke. He looks at the altimeter, the airspeed indicator, the horizon. He has been calculating for months, running equations in notebooks, sketching trajectories. He thinks he has found a flaw in the mathematics, a gap in the certainty. But testing it means abandoning doctrine. It means breaking formation. It means risking his crew on a theory. The refineries appear below, massive, industrial, sprawling across miles of Romanian countryside. Cracking towers rise like skeletal fingers. Storage tanks cluster in geometric patterns. Pipeline networks snake between facilities. Smoke pours from stacks, thick and black. The target is unmistakable. The bomb run begins. Lead aircraft opens bay doors. The formation follows. Garrick reaches for the switch. The bay doors grind open. Wind roars through the fuselage. The bombardier, Ashford, hunches over his sight. Calculating, adjusting. The target drifts into the crosshairs. Then the flak wall rises, not scattered bursts. A curtain of explosions, dozens of shells detonating simultaneously. The Germans have waited for this moment. Bay doors open, aircraft committed, speed reduced, the formation locked in. The gunners fire everything. The sky turns black. Shrapnel screams past the cockpit. The aircraft to Garrick's left takes a direct hit. The wing folds. Fire blooms. The bomber spins down, trailing smoke and pieces. No parachutes. 7 men gone in 3 seconds. The formation closes the gap, maintains course. Doctrine holds. Garrick sees the next salvo coming, not the shells themselves. The pattern, the geometry of death. The gunners have his position. They have calculated where he will be in 4 seconds, in 6 seconds, in 8. The shells are already in the air, already timed, already locked on a coordinate in space that his aircraft will occupy if he maintains speed and heading. Every instinct says, hold course, trust the formation, follow procedure. Every calculation says he will die if he does. His hand moves to the throttle. Lundquist sees it. Ellis, what are you doing? Garrick does not answer. He pulls back power on engines 1 and 2. The aircraft slows, not dramatically, just enough. 15 miles per hour, 20. The formation begins to pull ahead. Garrick pushes the yoke left. The bomber banks, shallow, controlled, but off course, off the calculated path. The flak burst that should have killed them explodes 30 yards to the right. Empty air. The shrapnel passes behind them. Jesus Christ, Lundquist whispers. The intercom erupts. Merriweather asking what is happening. Stamper reporting the formation is leaving them. Ashford demanding course correction. Garrick ignores them all. He pushes the throttle forward, full power. The aircraft surges. He pulls up, climbs 200 feet. Another burst. Below them this time, where they should have been. He rolls right, drops altitude. The movements are not random. They look random. That is the point. He is breaking the predictability, making the firing solution impossible. The crew understands now they are alone, separated from the formation. Every doctrine they have been taught says, this is suicide. Single aircraft are easy targets. Without mutual support, without overlapping defensive fire, they are naked, vulnerable. The Germans will swarm them, focus all guns on one isolated bomber, tear it apart. Standard tactics, proven tactics. Except the flak keeps missing. Burst after burst. Close enough to feel the concussion, close enough to hear shrapnel punch through aluminum, but not close enough to kill, not yet. Garrick's hands move constantly. Throttle, yoke, rudder pedals. He is flying on instinct and calculation simultaneously, creating chaos with precision. The fuel gauge drops faster than normal. The engines strain. The crew hangs on, and the shells keep exploding in spaces they no longer occupy. The Germans below are confused. Anti-aircraft batteries operate on mathematical certainty. Radar provides altitude. Observers provide speed. Computers calculate intersection points. Shells are fused to detonate at specific coordinates. The system works. It has worked for years. It has killed thousands of aircraft. But it requires one condition: predictability. The target must fly a steady course. If speed and heading remain constant, the math is simple. If the aircraft deviates, the gunners adjust, track the new vector, recalculate, fire again. This works against standard evasive maneuvers, gentle turns, altitude changes. The adjustments are minor. The firing solution adapts. But Garrick is not flying standard evasions. He is not turning gently. He is not making predictable adjustments. Every 3 seconds, he changes something. Throttle, bank angle, pitch. The variations are not dramatic. 10 degrees left, 15 degrees right, climb 200 feet, drop 300. Each change is small, but compounded, they create unpredictability. The gunners cannot track a pattern that does not exist. They fire where the aircraft should be based on the last observed vector. By the time the shell arrives, Garrick has altered course again. The explosion blooms in empty sky. There is a cost. Fuel consumption increases with every throttle change. The engines are not running at optimal cruise settings. They surge, they throttle back, They surge again. This burns fuel at rates the mission plan did not account for. The fuel gauge drops. Not catastrophically, not yet, but measurable, noticeable. Stamper calls it out over the intercom. They are burning reserves. If this continues, they will not have enough to reach base. They will ditch somewhere over the Mediterranean. If they survive the ditching, if they survive the landing, if the sea does not swallow them. The crew endures G-forces. Each maneuver loads the airframe. Banking pulls blood from heads. Climbing presses bodies into seats. The forces are not extreme, not blackout levels, but sustained, relentless. Necks ache. Vision tunnels at the edges. Hands cramp on gun grips. The human body is not designed for constant acceleration changes. Pilots train for this. Brief moments of high G during combat turns. Not minutes of continuous variation. Not the grinding accumulation of forces applied over and over. Lundquist's face is pale. Sweat streams despite the altitude cold. He does not speak. He watches Garrick's hands, tries to anticipate the next move, fails. Below, the bombardier has released the payload. The bombs fall away. Mission accomplished, photographically confirmed. But accomplishment means nothing if they do not survive the exit. The flak intensifies. The Germans know the bombers are most vulnerable after the drop. Speed reduced from open bay doors, formation disrupted from evasive actions. This is when kills happen, when aircraft stagger away damaged and slow. Easy targets. Garrick knows this. He has studied the statistics. 70% of losses occur within 5 minutes of leaving the target. He watches the fuel. He watches the sky. He counts the bursts. 23 so far. Each one close. Each one survivable. The probability should have killed them by now. Probability does not account for chaos, for calculated randomness, for a pilot who weaponizes uncertainty. Burst 24 detonates off the left wing. Shrapnel tears through the outboard aileron. The aircraft lurches. Garrick compensates with rudder. The control surfaces respond sluggishly, damaged but functional. He does not reduce the weaving. He cannot. Predictability now means death. The formation is miles ahead, scattered. Some aircraft trail smoke, some have fallen away completely. The sky is a graveyard of aluminum and fire. Garrick's bomber flies alone through the gauntlet. The guns below track them exclusively now. Every battery that can draw a firing solution does. The shells come in waves. Burst 25, burst 26, both high. Garrick has dropped altitude without realizing it. Instinct, reflex. The evasions are becoming automatic. His conscious mind calculates fuel and distance. His hands fly the aircraft independently, muscle memory and mathematics operating in parallel. The crew has stopped calling out threats. There are too many. Instead, they simply brace. Merriweather grips his nav table. Ashford wedges himself against the bombardier station. Stamper monitors instruments with mechanical precision. They trust Garrick because they have no alternative. Fear has burned away. Only exhaustion remains. Burst 27 explodes so close the cockpit fills with the smell of cordite. The plexiglass spiderwebs but holds. Garrick tastes copper. His nose is bleeding from G-forces. He does not wipe it. His hands stay on the controls. 30 seconds of straight flight, and they die. He knows this with absolute certainty. The firing solutions are too refined now. The gunners have observed enough of his pattern to predict. Not perfectly, but close enough. If he flies predictable for even 10 seconds, the math catches him. Burst 30, burst 31, burst 32. The count continues, each explosion a near miss measured in feet, in yards. The odds compound. Probability stacks. Every burst survived makes the next more likely to connect. This is gambler's fallacy in reverse. The dice have no memory. Each shell is independent. But humans cannot help but feel the accumulation, the sense that luck cannot hold forever. Garrick does not believe in luck. He believes in chaos maintenance, in staying random, in never giving the gunners a clean solution. Number 3, engine coughs, oil pressure dropping, temperature rising, Stamper reports it clinically. The engine is failing, not from flak, from stress. The constant throttle changes, the surging power demands. Engines are designed for steady-state operation, not this. Garrick reduces power to number 3, feathers the prop to reduce drag. The aircraft flies asymmetrically now, heavier on one side, harder to control. The weaving becomes more difficult, more exhausting. His shoulders scream, his back cramps. He does not stop. Burst 40, burst 41. The Romanian coast appears ahead, the Mediterranean beyond, friendly territory, escape. But the flak does not stop at borders. The guns fire until their targets are out of range. Maximum effective altitude for 88mm flak is 12,000 feet. Garrick is at 10,000, descending slowly as fuel burns. He cannot climb. 3 engines will not give him altitude with combat damage. He can only run, weave, survive, burst 45, burst 46, and then burst 47. The last shell the Germans fire. It detonates directly beneath the aircraft. The bomber lifts from the shockwave. Shrapnel shreds the belly, punctures fuel tanks, severs hydraulic lines. But the crew is alive. The wings stay attached. The engines keep running. Garrick rolls wings level, stops weaving. The guns are silent. They have cleared the range. The silence is deafening. After an hour of engine roar and explosions, the relative quiet feels wrong. The crew does not speak. They breathe. They check themselves for wounds they did not notice during the action. Ashford finds shrapnel embedded in his flak vest, 2 inches lower, and it would have severed his femoral artery. Merriweather's charts are shredded, navigation tables scarred with metal fragments. Stamper reports hydraulic pressure at 30%, falling. The landing gear may not deploy, the brakes may not function. Problems for later, if there is a later. Garrick checks the fuel gauges. The needles hover near empty, all tanks compromised, fuel streaming from punctures in the wings. He calculates distance to base, 210 miles. Fuel remaining should give them 180, maybe. The math does not work, they will not make it. Lundquist sees the same numbers. He does not ask questions. He knows, they all know. The Mediterranean stretches below, dark blue, endless, beautiful, deadly. Water temperature is cold enough to kill in minutes, even if they survive the ditching, even if the life rafts deploy, even if rescue aircraft find them. The odds are poor. Garrick reduces power to absolute minimum cruise. He leans the fuel mixture until the engines run rough. Every gallon matters, every mile counts. He flies straight now. No more weaving, no more evasion. The threat is behind them. Ahead lies only distance and mathematics. He watches the fuel gauges. They drop steadily. Merriweather plots a course to the nearest emergency landing strip. A makeshift airfield in Sicily, British-controlled. Shorter distance, rough runway. Designed for fighters, not heavy bombers. But it is closer, 90 miles closer. The math shifts. Possible instead of impossible, barely. The crew dumps everything, ammunition, guns, oxygen bottles. Anything not bolted down goes out the waist windows. Weight reduction. Every pound shed increases range. The aircraft flies lighter. The fuel consumption improves marginally. Not enough, but something. Garrick trims the aircraft for hands-off flight. He wedges his knee against the yoke, lets the bomber fly itself. His arms tremble from exhaustion. His vision blurs. He has been flying combat maneuvers for over an hour. The human body has limits. He has exceeded them. The Sicilian coast appears, brown hills, white buildings. The emergency strip is a scar across a farmer's field. No tower, no lights, just packed dirt and hope. Garrick calls on the radio. No response. The radio is dead. Shrapnel through the antenna. He flies a visual approach. The landing gear deploys partially, 2 mains down, nose gear stuck. Stamper cranks the manual release. Nothing. The gear is jammed. Garrick will land on 2 wheels and a nose. He lines up on final approach. Altitude 500 feet, airspeed 120. Fuel gauge reads 0. Both port engines cough. Starboard engines follow, the props windmill. The aircraft becomes a glider. Garrick has one chance. He cannot go around. He drops the nose, trades altitude for speed. The runway fills the windscreen. He flares. The main gear touches. The aircraft settles. The nose drops. Metal screams against dirt. Sparks shower. The bomber slides 1,500 feet and stops. Silence. Then the hatch opens. The crew climbs out. They do not speak. They sit in the dirt beside the wreckage. They are alive. 3 days later, Garrick sits in a tent at the main base. His crew has been transported back. The bomber remains in Sicily, too damaged to repair. It will be stripped for parts, the useful components salvaged, the rest scrapped. Intelligence officers want to understand what happened, how one aircraft survived when others did not. The mission lost 9 bombers, 63 men. The formation was decimated. But Garrick's crew came home, shot full of holes, burning fuel they did not have, landing on a dirt strip with no nose gear, but alive. The debrief is formal. A colonel, 2 majors, a stenographer taking notes. They ask Garrick to describe the mission. He does, clinically, without emotion. He explains the flak concentration, the firing patterns, the decision to break formation, the evasive maneuvers. The officers listen without interrupting. When he finishes, the tent is silent. The colonel asks how many flak bursts he counted. Garrick says 47. The colonel asks if he is certain. Garrick nods. He counted each one. The colonel writes something. He does not say whether Garrick will be court-martialed or commended. The line between innovation and insubordination is thin. The other crews talk. Word spreads through the squadrons. The pilot who weaved through Ploesti, who flew drunk, who abandoned formation and survived. Some call it luck. Others call it insanity. A few see the logic. They ask Garrick to explain. He tries. He talks about firing solutions, about predictability, about chaos as defense. Some dismiss it. The maneuver is too dangerous, too fuel-intensive. It destabilizes the formation. Command doctrine exists for a reason. Others are desperate enough to listen. They have watched too many friends burn. They have seen the statistics. If doctrine is killing them, maybe doctrine is wrong. Garrick does not advocate. He does not push. He simply describes what he did. The physics behind it, the cost in fuel and crew endurance, the narrow margins. He emphasizes that it worked once, under specific conditions, against specific defenses. It is not a universal solution, it is an option, a tool, something to consider when the alternative is certain death. Flight instructors hear about it. They are skeptical. They want data. Garrick provides his fuel calculations, his altitude records, the after-action report with the count of 47 bursts. The numbers speak for themselves. No official doctrine changes. No training program incorporates the technique. But pilots remember, they file it away. The idea that unpredictability might be survivable, that chaos might be a weapon. When crews face concentrated flak, some try variations, not the full weave, not the extreme fuel cost, but deviations, small, unpredictable changes, enough to complicate the firing solution, enough to create doubt. The Germans notice. Intelligence reports from interrogated gunners mention American bombers using erratic flight patterns. Tactics that made predictive firing difficult. It does not stop the flak, but it reduces effectiveness, marginally, measurably. Lives are saved. No one tracks how many. No one connects them to Garrick. The technique spreads like folklore, unattributed, uncodified, passed pilot to pilot in quiet conversations. Garrick flies 11 more missions. He does not weave again. The fuel cost is too high, the physical toll too extreme. He uses gentler variations, slight unpredictability, enough to disrupt without destroying. His crew survives the tour, all of them. 25 missions completed. They are sent home in November 1943. Heroes by default, survivors by statistics. Garrick receives the Distinguished Flying Cross. The citation mentions courage under fire, It does not mention the weave. It does not mention Ploesti. He does not correct the record. He returns to civilian life in 1945. He settles in New Haven. He works as an engineer, designing bridges, calculating load distributions, stress points. The work is quiet, precise, predictable. Everything flying was not. He marries. He raises 2 children. He does not talk about the war unless asked. Even then, his answers are brief. He attends veteran reunions. He shakes hands with Lundquist, with Merriweather, with the others. They retell the story of Ploesti, the weave, the 47 bursts. Garrick listens. He does not add details. He lets the myth grow. In the decades after the war, aviation tactics evolve. Evasive maneuvers become more sophisticated. Computer-guided systems, radar jamming, chaff deployment. But the principle remains. Unpredictability defeats prediction. Chaos complicates targeting. Modern fighter pilots learn defensive jinking, random altitude changes, irregular turns. The language has changed. The physics have not. Instructors teach energy management. They teach threat evasion. They do not mention Garrick. They do not know his name. The technique has been absorbed, refined, codified, stripped of origin. Garrick dies in 2006 at the age of 89. His obituary mentions MIT. It mentions the Distinguished Flying Cross. It does not mention the Drunken weave. Most people who read it do not know what he contributed. His children find notebooks in the attic after his death, filled with sketches, trajectories, fuel calculations, probability distributions, the work of a mind that saw war as a problem to be solved. They donate the notebooks to the Air Force Historical Research Agency. They are cataloged, filed, rarely accessed. But in flight schools today, pilots still learn that survival sometimes requires doing the opposite of what doctrine demands. That predictability is vulnerability. That one pilot thinking clearly under pressure can find a margin others miss. The lesson is not that Garrick changed the war. The lesson is that he changed the equation for one mission, for one crew, for 47 bursts that should have killed them but did not. His name fades, the idea endures. Somewhere over hostile territory, a pilot will weave, will break the pattern, will survive because someone decades earlier proved that chaos, applied with precision, is indistinguishable from genius. The sky remembers even when history forgets.